What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be 15 changes that Fortnite Chapter 2 or Season 11 needs to implement. Like, it's absolutely necessary that they implement, because if they don't, I feel like the game is going to be in a very dark place and it will not survive much longer. So with that said, I went on to YouTube and Twitter, asked you guys what you guys thought. So this list includes your own feedback as well as my own opinions. So with that said, let's get right into it. So number one, I think it's very obvious. We need a new map on Fortnite. It's not fun whenever everyone on the map knows every single inch of the island. And again, it's just stale, right? No one is going around exploring anymore. It's just all bam, 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 sweat, sweat, sweat. And so I think that if we have a completely new and refreshing map or island in general, I think that that's going to be a very beneficial thing to add to Season 11. Now, with that said, it has to be good, right? So number two is a large city point of interest. A lot of people can agree that Tilted Towers was the best combat Fortnite has ever seen, right? It's just the most fun location to land at. You had so many angles and opportunities to flank your opponents. It's just a fun and unique concept. And I think that, again, we need to see something that resembles that in the Season 11 map. Similar to what they did with Gotham, it resembles Tilted, but it's not exactly the same. And so again, I think that would be a great thing to add to the Season 11 map. Now, number three is more mobility. So I think that with all the feedback that they got from their past season here, Season X, I think it's very clear that we need mobility back in the game. I think that no one likes to run around. First off, they don't like to farm for 10 minutes, then run around and try to find somebody for 5 minutes, or die in the storm because they dropped in the corner of the island and they got to run all the way past Dusty Divot, basically past the middle of the island just to survive the first circle. I don't think anyone likes to travel that distance by walking. It's just not a very fun thing to do. It also makes in-game scenarios way more hectic and way more fun, in my opinion. So for competitive, I think would benefit, and I think the normal pub would benefit, so why not add it? The number four is perhaps the most important on our list. It's new mechanics, right? We need Fortnite Chapter 2, Fortnite Season 11, we need it to be a new game that basically resembles old Fortnite, but again, it's a refreshing experience. So basically, Fortnite 2 is really what it is. It's Fortnite 2, it resembles Fortnite 1, but it's something that is new and that everyone has to, restart on a fresh slate. Sure, people will still have an advantage that they've been playing for a while, but everyone's going to be on a much more even playing field. When I say new mechanics, I mean I want new edits. I want maybe even new pieces. I don't know. They need to do something that's going to just change the way people play the game. It'll resemble old Fortnite, so keep everyone happy, but it will make everything new, everything refreshing. So, I mean, I even heard Ninja say this, and I think it's a fantastic point. If they add a new map, yes, it's going to be a refreshing experience for a while, but people are going to get bored if the mechanics are all the same. If they change the mechanics, then we're exploring a new map, we're exploring new mechanics. It's basically a new game. And so that right there is what, if it's done right. If it's done incorrectly, this game is going down the drain. But if it's done correctly, if it's truly like a Fortnite 2, what we're gonna see is a lot more players coming back to the game. Now, number five is something kind of close to me. I've been very strongly opinionated on the subject. Number five, we need the removal of skill-based matchmaking. I personally think that this is killing the game single-handedly, because there's a lot of players out there that like to play casually. And when you have skill-based matchmaking, no one is playing casually. Even if you're a very low-skilled player, you're still playing players and you're still being matched against players of your skill level. Therefore, it's going to feel competitive to every single player, no matter what skill level you are. And so what this means is that we have two arena modes, basically, right? We have normal public matches, which are sweaty, and then you have arena, which is sweaty. Why do we have two arenas? Why do we have two competitive playlists? It does not make sense. Every single game, Halo, Call of Duty, you can name pretty much any game and it will have a casual playlist and a sweaty competitive playlist. I mean, there needs to be a differentiation between the two. There always needs to be a differentiation between the two. If you don't, then you're forcing everyone to sweat and it's just not fun. Now, with that said, I don't personally mind sweating that much, and so if they do want to keep skill-based matchmaking in the game for whatever reason, then they need to make it platform specific. There is no reason that a Switch player on 30 FPS needs to go up against someone that has 8 times the amount of FPS at 240 FPS on a PC. There's literally no reason for that. If you don't know, what skill-based matchmaking does is it pulls from your KD, win ratio, all your stats. We don't know the exact stats, but we know it pulls from stats. So what that means is that if you have a guy with a 5 KD on Switch, the game is thinking that he is as good as a PC player with a 5 KD. It's just not true. That player is at such a severe disadvantage to the PC player. It's insane. And the same goes for console. It's only 4 times more FPS, but there's times I play on console, right? I play on an Xbox One X. So I'm at 60 FPS. There's times where I will be shot without even seeing the opponent. Before I can see the opponent, I'm already taking damage. And it's because he has faster input response, so basically less input lag. The game just feels smoother for him. There's so many more benefits to running on a PC than compared to every other platform. It needs to be platform specific. I would not mind going into a game and fighting against all the best Xbox players. That's fine. And I wouldn't even care if they're using keyboard and mouse on Xbox, if that's even a thing. What I do care about is playing against somebody that has 4 times my FPS. It's just not fair. It's like putting a female in a male physical sport bracket. Yes, can they win? For sure. But they're at a severe disadvantage in every single fight, and I don't think it's fair. Okay, now let's step back and kindly reserve back to point number 6, which is add Siphon back. Especially if you're going to have skill-based matchmaking, Siphon needs to come back. Increased map farming, regardless, needs to come back. I think everyone can agree that no one wants to sit here and smack trees for 10 minutes and die immediately. It's just not a fun situation. Alright, number 7, we would need more game modes to improve mechanics, such as Zone Wars, 1v1 playlist, etc. So basically, what I'm trying to get across here is that we don't need skill-based matchmaking to solve the problem of casual players getting stomped by better players. What we need is more playlists to basically support and help those casuals get better. So for instance, we need game modes like Zone Wars and 1v1 playlists that are going to help every player improve their mechanics and be ready for the sweaty skill-based matchmaking system that they have now, or Arena if they want to choose to go down that route. Number 8, we have graphic settings for console players. So what this would do is help players maximize their FPS even in late game scenarios. So, you know, you'd basically be getting 60 FPS in late game. Right now, as it stands, we don't have any access to change that, and so we're forced to play on a considerably high graphic setting, causing our FPS to suffer. Number 9, we need an FOV slider, stretch res, or just res options in general. Again, every other game that you can think of has an FOV slider, and I think that it works well in most games. I don't know particularly how it would play out in Fortnite. I think it would be a benefit overall, but we'll have to wait and see. And what's funny is that there's an FOV slider function in the codes of Fortnite, but they're just not releasing it. So it's very interesting to see that that's the case, and so I would like to see them just release it, play around with it, and if it turns out not to be good, then just get rid of it. I think that it's a good thing to try out at least. Number 10, we need an edit and build sense for mouse and keyboard. I don't know why keyboard and mouse has not received more options for their settings. It seems that they really like to give controller players settings, which I'm not complaining. Like, I like the new settings and whatnot, but I don't think it's quite fair to have mouse and keyboard have to play on one sense. I mean, yes, they have an advantage over every other player, but it's not giving them much more of an advantage just being able to customize 2 different sensitivities, one for combat sense and one for building sense. So I don't know why they haven't received that yet. Again, I think it's something that we definitely need in Season 11. Number 11, I've been asking for this for so long. Number 11, we need to disable pre-edits. We need an option to disable those stupid pre-edits. Again, I don't understand why we haven't gotten this, because it is probably the most buggy feature in the game. And you know, you're going around, especially on console or controller, there's so many times where I will pre-edit something because the timing of just, you know, my paddles or whatever is just off, and I'll mess it up, I'll pre-edit, and then I'm just sitting there trying to get my pre-edit unpre-edited, and it's just not it's not a fun thing. It's really not. So I do think that that is something everyone 120% can mutually agree that we need an option to disable pre-edits. There is not one situation where I have successfully pre-edited something in the midst of combat and killed somebody strategically, like on purpose. It's just not something that I resort to, or anyone for that matter really resorts to. Number 12, continuing the topic of edits, we need a confirm edit upon release feature. So what this would do is that whenever you select, let's say you're just selecting these top 3 squares, as soon as you let go of your RT button for controller, or whatever button you use for mouse and keyboard, or whatever platform you're using, as soon as you let go of your select button, it's going to immediately confirm that edit instantly. And so there's no buffer time between, you know, you struggling to confirm, hit a different button to confirm. It's just going to be simultaneously instant. And again, this is going to create less bugs in the game, so I think that this is definitely necessary in Season 11. Number 13, we need better audio. Once again, everyone's been asking for this forever. There are so many times where I'll be hearing audio, I'll be hearing footsteps, and I'm like, oh, this guy's like 2 floors above me, but really he's like literally right above me, and I just don't even know. I mean, I don't know if it's my headset. My headset's not the best, but I've heard, you know, similar complaints from players that are at a competitive level, so I know that they're playing with better headsets. And so yeah, this game, the audio is not that great, and so I'm not too sure why they haven't played around with it more. But again, this is something people have been asking for forever, so if you don't deliver on these requests that literally everyone is asking for, it's not a good sign for a gaming company. It's really not a good sign. Number 14, this is kind of a random thing on this list, is I personally think we need 3 returns per season, and I saw this complaint on YouTube, and what I'm talking about here is whenever you accidentally buy something, I think that you should be able to return it within like a minute or so, at least 3 times per season. As it stands right now, you can only do so 3 times in your life, on this account, and so like I've already used one. I don't understand. I understand you gotta make money, right? But I don't understand why, you know, little kids, they might be pressing these buttons a lot more on accident than what we think. And so I think that every season you should have 3 chances to just go back on your purchase, as long as it's within like a minute. You know, you don't want people using it for like a day and then refunding it, obviously. So just make it like a minute and then they can refund it basically. Number 15, last but certainly not least, is we need a new game to release that forces Epic to listen to all these changes. We've seen this in the past, you know, whenever Apex Legends was gaining a lot of traction, all of a sudden they started listening to the community. We got Siphon, we got all these amazing features out of the game, and then once Apex Legends started falling off, well, then so did Fortnite. Season X launches, it's complete garbage, and everything just goes back down the drain. So again, we need a new game to come out that just causes them to be like, holy crap, we need to actually listen and get people playing this game again. So with that said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed my list. If you have anything to add or disagreed with, leave it down below in the comments and I will be happy to respond, or at least read it and consider your feedback. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.